compass. We are navigating the journey back to our inner artists. We have been speaking with artists and creative teachers and coaches and guides who are sharing with us their own unique journeys that they took to their creative lives and some of the wisdom that they've learned along the way. I'm Amy Blair, your host, and today we are talking to Bodhi Simpson. Bodhi is an art therapist who is passionate about assisting individuals in learning tools and techniques that increase personal awareness and encourage full expression. She enjoys supporting individuals in learning about the healing power of their imagination and creative expression. Bodhi has a private practice in Waterville, Maine, where she provides individual and group sessions and also facilitates experiential clinical trainings and community workshops. She is also the co-creator of the Wisdom of the Heart deck, affirmations to connect your heart and your mind. Welcome, Bodhi. It's so nice to have you here today.
Hi, Amy. Thanks for having me.
So, Bodhi, you're an art therapist. And before we actually jump into your journey about how you became an art therapist, can you just give our viewers, I know there are some people out there who aren't exactly sure what art therapy is. Could you just give us like a quick definition of what an art therapist does?
Yeah, that's actually a good question because I think it's easy to confuse what an art therapist is. Art therapists work with individuals of all ages, all populations, all settings, and we are master's level clinicians that are trained. We're trained in talk therapy, but we're also trained additionally to help people learn how to express themselves in creative ways. And so I guess that's basically my job.
Awesome. Because I know like we can do art in a lot of ways that are therapeutic, but that's not necessarily the same as doing art therapy. You are a licensed clinician who, who works with people in a specific way.
Yes, thank you for identifying that.
I like to, yeah. All right, Bodhi. So what was the journey like for you that led you to art therapy?
Yeah, so my journey, without going into all kinds of different pathways, every journey has many, many roads. But as far as creativity, it started when I was young. Certain aspects of my childhood were pretty stressful and traumatic, kind of looking back. And I remember some of my happiest times when I was at the kitchen table with my grandmother and my aunt and my mom, and we would just play and do art, and we would inspire each other and laugh. And it wasn't about being a good artist or being graded. It was just being together and creating. And kind of reflecting back, I realized that that time was only when certain people were not home. It ended up being like a part of my life that I loved, but that it was kind of secretive. So what I felt I learned from that at a very young age is that it wasn't always safe to really express yourself. There were certain times for that where it felt safe and certain times where it wasn't. So as I got older, I remember going to a really internal place with creativity, and I would kind of go into my imagination and create characters and draw about my feelings, what I was angry about, what I was sad about, and also fantasies and dreams that I had. And it really was a very private thing that if it was something I expressed that was really heavy, I would kind of tear it up. But basically, like through my teen years, it helped me to kind of like express what I didn't even know how to speak about yet. It helped me to like meet myself in a certain way and feel, I don't know, it was kind of like a self-soothing tool that in kind of looking back and reflecting, I don't know how I would have survived without it. And I feel because I had my mom and my grandmother and my aunt who loved doing art, it kind of like taught me that that could be something you could use. Had I not had them, I don't know, maybe I would have figured it out on my own. I'm not sure. But kind of fast forwarding, I ended up going to college. I liked art, so I really wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I started taking some art classes in college, but then everybody was telling me, well, that's not a career. You don't go to college to be an artist. And I was like, oh, you don't? Okay. So I started taking other classes that were interesting, like psychology and mental health classes. And I'm glad I did that because what happened is I really started to understand just the generational trauma within my family and mental health issues. And I really started to find a path to, yeah, just helping people um, heal in that way through talking. And what I quickly found is that I got kind of depressed. It was almost like this part of me, this creative part of me was repressed. I was kind of doing, I was following my path, but I was kind of trying to fit in this mold of what people were telling me was my path. And so I was like, well, I'm a little depressed. Maybe I should go back for my master's degree. And so I was researching clinical psychology programs, and I came across this profession called clinical art therapy. I had literally never heard of it. This was back in the early 2000s when it just wasn't out there like it is today. And as I researched it, it was the combination of art and psychology and human development. And as I'm reading about it, my heart is like blown wide open. It's so excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is literally me. How can there be this job that I didn't even know existed? That's me. And so I guess that was the first part of my life where I realized there's all kinds of surprises coming. It's like there's we think we know what's going on, and learning to be open and trust life that that I will find my way, and I have. From that, that was kind of the beginning of um, opening to life in a new way. And it felt like it was an accident that I found art therapy, but kind of looking back, I really believe it. All the crumbs kind of led me to this. And so what happened is when I felt like the whole first year of training as an art therapist, I still didn't quite understand what art therapy was. But I feel that was in part because I had so much of my own healing that I had to engage in before I could really learn how to facilitate with other people. So by going through the training to become an art therapist, I really dove right into really understanding how healing creativity is, how it's part of being a human, and it's how we can express ourselves and be seen. And it's just so beautiful and so gentle. And a big piece of this was really learning how to feel safe doing art anywhere, because it felt really vulnerable to allow people to see my art. Because what I felt as a child and what I learned as an art therapist is that anything we express represents something about ourselves. It's an aspect of ourselves that is becoming visible, and there's a vulnerability to it. And it was just exactly what I needed. So I felt like I was able along my path to become what I needed all along. And now it's my work in the world. So that's basically kind of where I'm at now. Now I enjoy just helping people learn how to feel safe expressing themselves and not getting stuck in judgment and the voices and the beliefs, and yeah, helping people kind of be able to see the energy creating their lives, their thoughts, their feelings, and then be able to consciously choose, what would they like to be living? What dream would they like to create?
Thank you. That's a beautiful story. And I know that our viewers are going to relate to so many parts of it. I loved how you described the moment when you learned about art therapy and how your body, like how you felt in your body, like that was your thing that you knew right away.
Yes, it's funny how life does that. It's like you can feel damaged and broken and not special, and then all of a sudden it's like you feel recognized by yourself,
Right.
like, oh my gosh, wait, this is my truth versus what everybody else wants for you,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
For sure. So Bodhi, in your bio, you talked about working with people with the healing power of imagination. I was wondering if you could talk to us a little bit about that. Why is our imagination a tool for healing?
I would love to talk about the imagination because we're using our imaginations all the time. And most often we are kind of on autopilot, and we're allowing our minds to kind of play past experiences or fears or worries. Um, and our body responds to what we're thinking about, to what we're visioning. And so a lot of the work with art therapy is really once we can kind of help people to become aware of what their perception is based on what they've been through, then we can say, okay, now what I'd like you to do is imagine what that would be like if you were feeling how you would like to be feeling. Because usually what people will tell me is, well, I'm just not feeling happy. And so I feel bad about that. And so I can't possibly create, we can't really create what we're not feeling. It's hard to do. There's a block. But if we can imagine it, then what we can do is then we can feel into what we're imagining. And you can bring in a whole new perspective that's kind of rises above the frequency you're vibrating at or the perspective that you have. And all of a sudden, as you're creating, you're embodying this new energy, this new perception. And there are shifts happening because your mind and your body are connected. And so people will sometimes say, wow, I was able to create this. And isn't it lovely? But I'm still not feeling it. And I'll say, oh, but how wonderful. This image came from you. It's an expression from you. And now you can develop a relationship with this and really feel into what this aspect would feel like. And what we know from neuroscience now is that there are literally synapses connecting in the brain each time we imagine how we would like things to be. We're rewiring. So when I went to school to be an art therapist, we knew about it innately, but we didn't have all this really cool research that's starting to come around the power. Think about sports psychology. They're telling you, imagine yourself reaching the goal, and then you step into it it's the same thing. So it's life-changing.
Yeah, I think our culture, like we've really devalued our imaginations a lot. Like it's kind of relegated to like children, like child's play and something that's, not real. Like you hear that, like I hear people say that a lot, like, well, it wasn't real, I just imagined it. But it's such a powerful tool.
It really is. And yeah, what is real? I don't know. I mean, that's like a good conversation, I suppose.
Right. All right, Bodhi, I know you also do a lot of work around the topic of self-compassion. Can you talk about that a little bit, how that figures in, and what's the role of art? How does art help us in that journey
Yes.
of self-compassion?
These are great questions. So I've done this work for a lot of years now, and what I found is that, a lot of the work is really helping people access the root of what's blocking them. They can talk their way through it and think they know what it is, but often there's something really deep under the surface. And after we've done all these layers of work, we'll get to this place where there's still a block. And what I found is that many people, when it comes to the theme of self-compassion, they have some core belief or feeling that they're not worthy of healing, that they're really not good, that there's something really bad about them or really broken about them. And so if our hearts are closed to this, we're close to our own healing. So I feel that the work is really helping people learn how to open to the possibility, at least, that they too are lovable just as every human is. And art really can help kind of we get so fixed in our patterns that it can be hard to even know how to relax sometimes. So I feel art is a nice active meditation that can allow you to stay in the present moment, not get caught up in the fear or in the freeze response in your body, and allow that flow state. And then I like to use different symbols that come through for you or colors just to help you really find that feeling for yourself. And it's different for everybody. So for anybody watching this, just have awareness, as we're going to do a little practice today before we end, and just have awareness if you're feeling blocked at all, because it doesn't mean you're broken because you're feeling blocked. It just means that's where we want to bring more attention. That's where we want to open. Um, yeah, I feel like so many of us, we just are so ingrained in our ways of being because that's what was modeled for us, or that's how things are happening in society, and we just need a little bit of a structure. So I will offer you guys a little structure, but I would also recommend, as it feels right, feel free to break the structure. Find what speaks to you.
Oh, that sounds like a great place to transition into the practice you're going to teach us today.
Yes. So, Amy, do you have any art materials with you?
I do. I have a sketchbook and I have some colored pencils.
Perfect. And for today, I have just regular printer size paper, and I have some chalk pastels. I often use chalk or oil pastels with my clients because they are they're very flowing and even though we know we're not going to be judged or graded on this, we can have a tendency to want to do a lot of details. So really the practice today is about, again, first off, make sure that you are in a safe place. Make sure that close the door, put on some light music, light a candle, whatever you need to do to feel safe and supported in your space. And then just gather whatever material speaks to you. If you have pastels, you can try it. But if you have something else that you want to try, or even a pencil and notebook paper, that's fine. Sometimes when doing these practices, people enjoy tracing a circle on the paper. Or for today's practice, you might choose to draw a heart shape on the paper. But for me, I'm just going to use blank paper. But again, if it feels just really overwhelming to have that blank page, feel free to draw a shape on it that you can work within. Okay, so before we begin our practice, I'm going to just guide you guys in a gentle meditation, and then I'm going to open up for you guys to create. And for sake of time, we'll just do 2 or 3 minutes for you and I, Amy, but feel free for others to, pause the video and take as long as you'd like. Okay, so what I'd like you guys to do is just, now that you have your materials out, just place your feet flat on the floor. Maybe place your arms in your lap. Take a deep breath in and hold it till it almost hurts to breathe any deeper. And breathe out down through your body and down through your feet, down into the earth. So just taking that moment to really be present in our body. And what I'm going to invite you to do now is you may choose to place your hand on your heart, or you may choose to just bring your awareness to your heart center at the center of your chest. But what I'd like you to do is just bring your awareness to the beating of your heart and allow your awareness for a few seconds here to go to the blood moving through your veins from your heart into the systems of your body. And the heart is the center of our energetic system. And it's so easy to just not even think about it, not even really recognize that without heart, we wouldn't be alive. It really pumps our life force through our bodies. And today we're really honoring the wisdom of our own hearts that we're often never taught how to connect with and how to feel. What I'd like you to do is for this moment, I'd like you to connect to the feeling of love. So you might think about somebody you love deeply or a pet, and allow yourself to feel that feeling of love. And then as you take a deep breath in, I'd like you to imagine breathing in that feeling of love in through your heart space, and allow it to just expand through your entire body. And in your mind's eye, you might even see a color that's associated with this feeling of love. For me, it's often a very, very light pink, but it's different for everybody. So allow yourself to practice perceiving a color, to practice expanding this feeling of love and gentleness through your entire body. And you could even imagine that your heart is a beautiful lotus flower. And imagine as you breathe in and as you breathe out through your heart space, you can imagine this flower opening up wide. So we're using our imaginations to allow our heart space to open to this moment. And what I'm going to invite you to do now, so with your awareness of your open heart, I'd like you to just come up into your mind's eye in the center of your forehead and just see if you can perceive, again, colors or imagery or symbols connected to what an open heart might look like. And connecting to what an open heart might feel like. And again, you have your hand on your heart, which is providing you some support and just gentleness. If you're panicking right now because you can't think or feel anything, that's okay. We're really giving ourselves permission today now, if we're feeling any type of block or fear, to imagine, if we could imagine what an open heart might look or feel like. What would that look like? What would that feel like? What colors would that be? What does nurturing and receptiveness and expansiveness in your body, in your heart look like? And when you're ready, I'm going to invite you just to, you can kind of hold your and caress your cheeks. You can give yourself a gentle squeeze. You can open your eyes or rub your legs. And what I'm going to invite you to do as we engage in our practice is continuing to breathe in and out through your heart space with the imagery that your heart is open. If you feel it closing with every out breath, you have the opportunity to open again. And see if you can hold this frequency of gentle, loving kindness for yourself as you express colors or imagery onto the paper of what it might look or feel like if you had your heart wide open. So let's take a minute or two, Amy, and express something on. And Amy, I'll just invite when you feel you're at a place that has an essence of this experience, just let me
Okay.
know. Okay, so we did this very quickly. And honestly, sometimes I prefer to do it quickly because I feel like then I'm not overthinking and I'm just getting it out. And I mentioned the word essence. We're really looking to capture the essence. This is for you, not we're not necessarily going to frame this and hang it on the mantle, but you're capturing the energy that you can continue to work with. So Amy, I know we did this quickly, but were you? Oh, actually, before we talk about it, maybe you could just take a moment and see if there is any title or phrase that comes as you look at your image, and if so, write it on the page.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Are you? Oh, before we share, were you able to feel an opening? Were you able to feel the love? Were you feeling blocked? What was your experience?
Yes, I definitely, I found that putting my hands physically in my heart space was very helpful to help me sort of tune into that heart and that open heart feeling. And I loved your prompt to like tune into the blood pumping through your veins in your body. That visual was really powerful.
And were you able to, did you have an image come or did you have colors? Were you able to express anything in that little bit of time?
Yeah, so it was a lot of colors. I'll hold it up if that's okay, if you can see it. It's sort of like a heart in the center, and then there's some like light blue and light purple flowing lines that were flowing out of the heart center. And then on the sides, there was like a warm, glowing kind of color with like yellows and oranges, and they're sort of like little spheres.
Mm.
And the title I put on it was Flowing Love.
Ooh, flowing love. Does this feel like an image that feels finished as it is, or does it feel like you'll continue to work with that?
I could definitely continue working with it for sure.
I'll share with you mine just to give another sample. So I used pastels, and I use pastels all the time, so I'm pretty used to using them in about 2 minutes. The image I got was this like me holding me, holding me, holding me. It was even seeing it kind of reminds me of an infinity symbol. It was like infinite aspects of myself holding myself, and then it was like this kind of felt like peacefulness and just I don't know, I guess grounded love. My title was Gentle Support. Um, and I feel through my story I kind of shared with you, I guess part of my journey was also learning how to support myself, not needing that external validation, but learning how to give myself what I needed. And so the way I work with these images is I do leave them out in my meditation space or my safe space where I create, and then I practice looking at them and I practice feeling. I might tune into a color, I might feel what the feeling of the symbol feels like for me. But I really practice mm, for self-compassion, it's really an experience that's deeper than words. So I really practice just feeling it, allowing myself to feel love for myself. And when I get caught in my brain with my judgments, like we all do, happens all the time. It's a continual practice for a lifetime. I practice, I'm aware that this is going on, and I'll put my hand on my heart and I'll practice feeling this. So a way you could work with these from today is you could literally find a safe space where you're going to be doing your creating, getting started with creating, and you could put this there. Or you might, for those of you that maybe got something that was like, ooh, I kind of like where this is going, create. Like I see there's an art piece behind you, Amy, that is kind of more formalized. You can create an image that, I mean, I feel like, don't we all need one of these? And who knows, maybe that's what that image is, of our own open heart, where we can actually sit in meditation with our own open heart and really practice feeling this love. Because as you know, you're a mom, we can't give from what we don't have. So it's like learning how to really fill ourselves up and actually have it come from within us. And then it's just spilling out and everybody else gets love because we have plenty to give. So this is my practice. I called it opening your heart with art. Just really take anything from this structure and find a way to create some expression of your open heart and practice feeling.
Thank you so much for that, Bodhi. That is a beautiful practice. And I love how you spoke into the piece about after you've created the piece, then allowing it to work on you by looking at it and experiencing it. And that's the power of art is that you don't need words. You can bypass that, those words that, live up here and get us all in our headspace. You can bypass that and just go straight to the heart space, which is so powerful.
Yeah. And I love your painting. I feel like I've been just feeling into that through this whole session. And even though I didn't create it, I see aspects of it that are really speaking.
Thank you. Bodhi, thank you so much for being with us here today, for sharing your journey, for sharing your wisdom, for sharing that beautiful practice with us. It was so great to have you.
Thank you so much, Amy. I'm so happy to be here.
And to our viewers, thank you for being here, and be sure to check your inbox tomorrow for another great interview, and we will see you then. Bye for now.